How's it going, everybody? It's your boy, Cry for the Weeper here. I genuinely do not like that level. It's very hard to P-rank. Enough about me constantly updating you about my current progress in P-ranking the rest of Act 2. There's currently been something going on for quite a while now that, honestly, I wasn't even sure if I was going to really make a video talking about it, but considering the fact that the subject of today's video is still coping about it to this day, literally uploading a video coping about it 2 hours ago as of recording this audio, I feel like it's only necessary to talk about it. We're taking a look at quite possibly one of the worst commentary channels on YouTube, and no, it's not Brazo, no, it's not him, it's not the guy that clickbaits someone's death just so that way he can get views. No, it's actually someone that actually had a controversy, I think about last year or something like that, where he ended up lying about another YouTuber, just so that way he could get some easy views, because that's, you know, very good way to get. I really don't. I can't be asked to really look into it. All I know is that it was essentially something that ended up earning him a nickname during that time of Defamation Noodles, which is just kind of hilarious. But he's back, and in a desperation to try and get some sort of attention back onto him for his dying channel, he's decided to try and host some sort of live roast battle event, even going out of his way to try and enlist other YouTubers like Optimus and Critical, I think, to try and get into it just so that way he could build up hype for it. Obviously no one bothered to join, so it was just an entire, like, you know, practically empty comedy club, and he was just, you know, standing there with just a bunch of random people, just essentially live streaming his own downfall at that point, and just live streaming just how desperate he is. And it's quite possibly one of the most unfunny things that any human being could ever come across. Quite literally, the entire thing starts with him like showing off this clip of this other YouTuber crying, and I had to look up the context behind it, and it was literally this guy. He was in a debate with Def Noodles, and he was crying while he was trying to describe the kinds of things that he's gone through when he was trying to call out like predators and abusers in the past. Like, yeah, that's just a great way to start it. But as much as I'd like to get into all the terrible things that this guy's done, I genuinely don't want this video to be any longer than it really needs to be. So I think it's only best that we just take a look at some of the greatest hits from this entire live stream of his that lasted for about an hour.
You're like my cousin if you were a girl.
Yeah, that's just a great way to start a roast. Let's just put it this way, if you're trying to be funny or you're trying to roast someone, I can't even call that a mediocre burn at best. In reality, that's just, like, I don't even know what to actually say about this one. This one literally has me at a loss for words of how to actually respond to it, because it's just bad. It's just genuinely bad. That's the best way anyone could describe it. It's just terrible. I've heard better roasts on modern-day SNL than that. That's the best way I could describe it. This man somehow manages to make Amy Schumer look like a comedic genius in comparison. This man genuinely looks like if Keemstar ended up just going homeless. If I were to properly describe Def Noodles, it would be the perfect representation of a desperate YouTuber trying to get attention. Like, there's no other way to describe this man, and his roasts pretty much just perfectly reflect his overall just, like, demeanor and appearance. They're just equally bad.
Thank you. I bet you cried when you got those tattoos.
I did.
Somehow this man is getting steamrolled by just some rando in the audience, and let's just quickly point out the audience. It's extremely fucking small. I think I've seen, like, a better turnout for the Overwatch 2 open beta testing than I think I've seen for something like this. Jesus Christ. Random phone call when I don't want it to happen. Please shut up. Basically, the turnout for this thing is terrible, and as much as I'd like to rag on the entire setting, I guess this was about all he could afford. Just some sort of random comedy club at, like, the back end of Detroit or something. I really don't know.
Are you from Detroit?
Take a guess.
No.
She's quite literally wearing a Detroit jacket. I mean, sure, there are in fact some people that quite literally just, like, wear sports jackets even though they don't come from there, but who knows, maybe this chick actually did come from Detroit and that's why she's wearing it, so just kind of shows this man's intelligence that he can't seem to fucking read.
I don't understand how you have holes on your knees, on your pants, Because you don't go down, right?
What? What? I don't know how to properly respond to this one. Like, let's just put it this way, the only reason why I'm even remotely close to laughing is just because of how uncomfortable this is. There's no one in the audience that's even remotely smiling or even giving like a pity giggle whatsoever. And this chick right here just looks so uncomfortable. Like, holy shit, she just genuinely doesn't look like she wants to be there in the first place. She looks like she's practically being held at gunpoint just so that way she can just be poorly roasted by this man that quite literally has a bird's nest on top of his head. But hey, aside from that, those are pretty much some of the greatest hits, and quite possibly the entire thing. Just him poorly attempting to roast someone while he's actually getting roasted better by a complete stranger. Like, I just don't even understand it. And quite literally after this, after everyone was basically dogging on him because of, you know, this absolutely horrible, like, live stream just in general, more specifically after Critical ended up making a response, he basically has made, he has made 4 different responses about people, like, making fun of just how bad the live stream was. And each one is somehow worse than the last. His first 2 responses towards Charlie, you know, Critical, and, you know, Critical made a response to the first 10-minute response, and then Def's second response to Critical's response was basically an hour of him trying to desperately convince his audience that he's funny. And that's also basically what his next 2 responses were just quite literally him trying to desperately convince people that he is in fact funny. And I understand the whole entire, like, defensive comedy is subjective, but I think when it comes to that entire just, like, statement, just like with any statement, there will always be an exception to that. And the exception to that rule is that, universally, Def Noodles is the single most unfunny human being. I feel like I would probably laugh more often during, like, an Amy Schumer sketch than I would laughing at anything that Def Noodles has done. Matter of fact, I think if Def Noodles just did a live stream where he was just staring at the camera for an entire hour straight, I would probably get more laughs out of that than if he were to just talk at all. I just genuinely cannot think of any possible way to properly describe how unbelievably unfunny he is. Somehow, by stepping into a room, he manages to drag down the funny levels down into the fucking negatives, almost down to absolute 0, and the only reason why people would laugh is just because they're uncomfortable. But anyways, that's basically about it. As much as I'd like to take a look at his desperation in trying to convince people that he's funny and that he can't seem to handle when people don't laugh, it's really not worth it. I just really wanted to make fun of this really stupid live stream and just kind of give, like, a very slight update to things. There's a lot more in-depth videos out there if you want to go and look them up. But hey, that's it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed today's video, please consider leaving a like. It's very well appreciated. Leave a comment down below what you thought about the video, what you want me to talk about next, and subscribe to the channel if you're new and you want to see more content such as this. Also, go ahead and follow me on Twitter. That's very well appreciated. And yeah, anyways, guys, this has been Sanity. Somehow funnier than Def Noodles. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a nice day.